When Navajo people pray, they pray for everything. And you always wish the best for them. The fact that it's women's clothes that I design, it's sort of like a prayer for Native women in general, because I want them to be able to succeed in a world that they are not from. Having a tool like clothing, to help them succeed in a professional setting, that's what I hope for. I think the inspiration of how I come up with an idea, that's really evolved from what it was in the very beginning. Being an artist is really learning about yourself, evolving each time, learning something new. I've just become more confident in sharing myself in my way, in my own voice, rather than what people expect of a Navajo designer. All these materials that I'm using in this collection are stuff that I've used in the past or have bought and not used yet, but it's really in response to the pandemic. But also, I don't throw anything away, I keep everything. I've been thinking a lot about farming and things like that lately, gardening. I use a lot of floral motifs. When you look through a garden and you really look at the stems of the plants, how they really curl around something, it's just really beautiful to see. So I like to mix those kinds of things into my work. I used to stay out at the sheep ranch with my nullies, then Shadow Mountain near the Little Colorado River. My paternal grandparents, we used to lay outside in the summertime and they would tell me all kinds of creation stories, things about the stars, and we'd go to the ceremonies. And so that was a really big part of my childhood, my upbringing, and so that's what I bring a lot of it into my work. This whole theme of this collection is about finding ways for healing during this pandemic. So I'm telling a story about these hero twins. In Navajo ceremonies, there's a lot of beings that are called upon. This one story is the one that sticks out because these hero twins are the sons of Changing Woman, Sanadle, and the sun. They're living in this time period where these yetis, these giants, roam the earth and monsters are killing people. So they go where the sun rises because the sun can help them. So he gives them these weapons to help fight these monsters. They're a male and female arrows made from sunbeams and armor made from flint. So these are the weapons that they brought back with them from the sun as gifts to help fight these monsters. And so today's monsters are disease, alcoholism, drug abuse, things like that. And specifically right now is COVID-19. And so that's why I chose to use these arrow motifs for this collection. Protection. It's the symbolism. We speak it in our prayers and in the songs. This is probably the only something I literally took from Navajo stories and put into my garments, is these arrow motifs. The rest is something that's made up completely by me. Some collectors in general who are the patrons of Native art expect certain types of motifs that everyone's used to. So they're kind of directing what is produced. That's like saying, okay, well, we want you to live in this time capsule village and stay there, don't change. They won't even look at contemporary artists and don't consider contemporary artists truly indigenous people. It's been that way forever, and I just don't agree with that. That's just no imagination for me. This is Navajo. This comes from my culture. It comes from me. I mean, I'm Navajo. Hello. It really comes from a place that is deeply traditional. I mean, I don't know what other way to express it than like this. So designing this garment based on crystals, in Navajo they call it Diné. And crystals are used in Navajo culture as a way of seeing, using the stars and the light through the crystal to help in healing and figuring out what is ailing someone. These stargazers are pretty important in our culture because they diagnose you. There's a lot of color in this because you see rainbows inside the crystal, almost in an orderly way, sort of like how rainbows are ordered by color. My garments do take on their own personality. They sort of come to life in a way. I refer to them like she needs this, him needs to be done, or, you know, things like that. Definitely also have attitude. Like one gown was just giving me problem after problem. I was so frustrated, and I thought maybe she didn't want to get finished because I've been working on that dress for over a year. It was just almost there, and there was just a lot of issues with it. And so then I would stop working on her. Because everyone's in lockdown right now, everyone's missing their family, you know, missing home. I'm no exception, so I'm going to name all of these dresses after my 4 immediate grandmothers, and then my relatives through clan. I always get emotional when I think about the women in my family. It's such an emotional thing for me. The women in my family have always protected me. If anybody said anything to me, they would run to the rescue. So I've always had this bubble around me. My grandmothers, when you hug them, you always remember that smell, the scent. And it could be like a mixture of like wild plants and maybe like the sheep, just a little hint of it. Comfort, like nothing can happen. The last time I saw my paternal grandma, she was sitting down, and I just sat on the floor on my knees and I just hugged her. And just held her for the longest time. You know how she just rubs the back of your head, and she talks to you in Navajo and tells you, call you her baby. They know what they're supposed to do. They want to be needed, they want to be useful. Remembering all of those times, it's in this collection. In beauty I walk, with beauty before me I walk, with beauty behind me I walk, with beauty above me I walk, with beauty around me I walk. It has become beauty again, it has become beauty again, it has become beauty again, it has become beauty again. When I say something's beautiful, it's not really about physical beauty, it's just about the balance. It's a balance between nature and the universe, everything in tune with each other. Being able to live in this world, we're taught that you should do it in a beautiful way.